Act. Notice of this meeting was submitted by fax to Spartanburg Herald Journal, posted on the bulletin board, in the town lobby of the town hall, and on the town's website. At this time, we'll stand for the invocation. Mr. Bradley, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for all your many blessings on us. I want to thank you for this beautiful day that we've had. I want to ask that you watch over, give us the wisdom to make the decisions that's best for our town. We have a few people that I would like to make some special requests for. Our town administrator's mother has had some issues and she needs your healing touch. Our town attorney, Mr. Frost, he's had some issues this past week that be great for your touch and healing. I also ask that you watch over our servicemen and ladies that are protecting our country and trying to protect our freedom. Watch over and protect them and give our national leaders the wisdom to make the decisions that's best for our country and best for pleasing you. At this time, we want to thank you for all you've done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Let's go. Pledge allegiance, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 5, we have a presentation, presentation for veterans.
Good evening, council members and members of the public. My name is Rob Henry. I'm the Veterans Liaison Program Coordinator at the Dr. Benjamin E. Mays Family Resource Center off of Sunny Acres Road. I'm here tonight to talk to you all about our Veterans Service and Care Program. Currently, we have a great number of veterans here in the Packlet area. If my numbers are accurate, about 3 times the national average of veterans to civilian ratio. What we're doing over there is we are helping our veterans, a majority of whom are older veterans from the Vietnam era, retrieve records, get lined up for services through the VA and through other veteran service organizations, as well as simple home repairs, pretty much anything and everything that they need. They know that they have a place to come to get support and help. Currently, we have 2 other veteran liaisons who are working with me in order to meet these needs of our veterans. We do records retrieval, helping negotiate with the VA, finding service organizations to take care of their specific needs, anything from housing, drug rehabilitation, home repairs, vehicle repairs, really anything and everything that we can do for these ladies and gentlemen who have risked their lives for our country, frankly, is the bare minimum that we should be doing for them. What we are seeking today is official endorsement and a signal boost, because the main thing that we are hearing from our veterans is that they didn't even know that this program exists. Now, I can go around everywhere and posting up flyers, leaving my business cards, talking to every single person that I see with a veteran's hat, license plate, bumper sticker, you name it. But we're just, right now, our organization is 3 people who are working there. Our director, Mr. Jerry Rice, our community navigator, my wife, Kayla, and myself. The other thing that we are looking for is there are a great many older veterans who are no longer in the physical shape to take care of their property in their homes, in their vehicles. We're seeking volunteers and community engagement to help with these simple things, because if you hire out a contractor for a simple repair, even something that is maybe $20 worth of materials can turn into a $400 to $500 job very fast. The other thing that we are attempting to do at the Family Center is we want to set up sober meetings, organizations like Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, in order to combat the addiction problem that is seen around the area of Packlet. Substances such as crack cocaine, methamphetamine, and opioids. From my experience going out to members of the community, these problems are rampant and they are getting worse. So we are trying to partner with these sober organizations in order to set up meetings at the Family Center. And even with our already established services, such as our food pantry, our clothing closet, and even certain employment referrals, the main thing that we hear from these people who come into us is like, we didn't even know this was here. We didn't know that y'all were offering this. And Mr. Jerry, God bless him, you know, he's there from 5:30 in the morning to sometimes 5, 6 o'clock at night, depending on the day and what's going on that day. Well, what we would like to see happen in the community is a word of mouth promotional kind of thing, saying if you need anything, you can come down to the Ben Mays Family Center. And this is civilian, this is veteran, and even our current enlisted members of the armed forces, 2 of which I know are currently deployed to areas such as Jordan and Dubai, or not Dubai, I'm sorry, Jordan and Kuwait. Another thing that we would like to mention is that we have, at the end of the month, the last Thursday of every month, we have a Veterans Fellowship Dinner. A lot of these veterans that I'm talking to, especially my older Vietnam clients, they say how much that they miss the military and always having people around that they knew that they could trust and that has gone through something similar to them. We've had 2 of these fellowship dinners so far, and a fairly minimal turnout, maybe 10, maybe 12 veterans come by. Really the thing that we are looking for, we're not really asking for money, we're just looking for community participation in our family center. We all remember the aftermath of Hurricane Helene and just how many people were piled down here. And I understand that the need now is not as dire as it was back then when nobody had power and, you know, food was not necessarily a guarantee if you didn't have a generator powering your refrigerator. But there is a level of community involvement that I believe is necessary for us to truly improve our town. I understand that people talk, and we are hoping that we can make people talk for the right reasons. I'm going to be leaving copies of my business card that offer contact for me directly, as well as our community navigator and Mr. Jerry Rice. If y'all come across anybody who needs any kind of service, I would rather you send somebody to us and then we have to send them someplace else than, because we don't offer it, then y'all not sending anybody to us, or that civilian or that veteran not having their needs met. We've been partnering with local area veteran service organizations in order to try and expand veterans' transitional housing. So that way, hopefully, God willing, one day there will be no such thing as a homeless veteran in Spartanburg County. The other thing that we are trying to do is get more community involvement to teach certain classes and basic life skills to members of the younger generation so that they don't have to rely on somebody. As well as community mentorship programs. You know, teaching a freshly minted parent how to change a diaper, or what it means to get your finances in order. These are simple, basic life skills that I believe that if we start teaching to these people, if we start showing that we have skin in the game, that we have a hand out there to help lift these people up, I think that we will be able to greatly benefit our time. If you have any questions at all, I'm happy to answer anything. And if you have any ideas about what we could be doing better, please tell them to me. Because everyone that is working there, from our staff to our volunteers, truly believes in the message and the vision of Dr. Mays. And I don't know how much you know about him, but he was a very big proponent of something called restorative dignity. When you can return dignity to someone's life and to their station, they become productive members of society who in turn go out and help other people. Again, my name is Rob Henry. I'm going to be leaving my contact information here at the front window. If y'all have anything for me, please contact us. And whether it's persons, ideas, or even requests, we're 100% down for it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your organization with us. At this time, item 6, do we have any public comments?
No, sir, there's no citizens' comments.
All right, item number 7, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 5th, 2026?
Motion to approve minutes, March 5th, 2026.
Second the motion.
All in favor? Any opposed to that? Item number 8, can I have a motion that we move from open session to executive session to cover regarding personnel?
Motion to go to executive session to discuss personnel.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed to it?
I'm not going back and try and see it.
Item number 8, executive session. There was no action taken. So do I have a motion we move from executive session back to open session?
Motion to return to open session.
Second.
All in favor? Number 9 on the agenda is department reports.
I won't go through everything on here, just some of the kind of the highlights on here. Number 3, that last section on there where it says still waiting on architect for a quote, we'll reach out to the new architect if no response. While I was writing this, I received the proposal on there for the $3,000, and the mayor has signed that, so that'll continue on there. Item number 6, regarding the Norfolk Southern, got confirmation today that they did receive the letter that was addressed from the mayor, and they said that they will respond back in a few weeks, so I'm thinking about 4 to 6 weeks that we should get a response back. And when I say response, they are drafting up the contract to donate the property to the town of Packard. Item number 7, just wanted to let you know, as of today, the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit for Briarwood has been installed. It happened, I think, this afternoon. In addition to that, if you still want to move forward with the speed bumps on there, I've got a copy of the traffic calming guidelines packet from SCDOT. If anybody would like a copy of that, I can email that to you. I'll be reviewing that over my weekend, and we'll get back to you and let you know what all the process is to go through that.
Excuse me just a minute.
Yes, sir.
Since we have the police chief here with us, I'd like to inquire about his opinion on the speed bumps. Because I've had some people inquire in other neighborhoods. The streets are actually even smaller than Briarwood that would love to have the speed bumps installed. How would that affect the police department, and what's your opinion on it?
I am quite honestly not in favor of them. Everywhere I've seen them installed for issues like the complaints are has resulted in a lot more complaints about the speed bumps that you've got about the traffic safety or speeds. Given what the officers found when they did the work order and used radar to clock speeds there, I really didn't think they were excessive. I really didn't think the speed limit needed to be lowered. I think out of 18 hours of radar enforcement, we got 2 people that were going over the speed limit. The communities I have served before that installed speed humps in neighborhoods like that ended up paying money out for damaging vehicles more so than they did affecting and increasing safety for the public. That's certainly you're right, but I think you also open a door that, like you said, many other communities will expect the same treatment. So where do you delineate that? How do you decide who gets speed humps and who doesn't, and what sort of survey does the police department need to do to determine the need, that kind of thing. So I'm certainly not in favor of it, but if the people in those communities want those, that's something that council has to decide.
But I think you found that with the extra police presence and now with the signs going down, it's definitely a better traffic flow through there with less speed.
Yes, and we haven't had any more complaints.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well,
Item 9, if Mr. Cooper would like to say anything about this, just want to let you know that the Legacy Day will happen tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, with Broome High School. There will be, I believe, 6 students, a couple of teachers. They'll be coming out for that. And Mr. Cooper, who is heading this up, has all the materials and supplies and everything that he needs, since tomorrow Town Hall will be closed and the employees will not be here. But he's got all the equipment, and then I will also let him give you a copy of, or give you the combination to the gate and to Public Works building, and let you know where the key is if you need the Public Works vehicle as well. Item 10, the HVAC at the post office has been completed and paid for. That project is completed. We have been asked to look at additional work out there in terms of repainting the awnings and the railing out there. And I would love for us to either try to do that in-house if we can, or if council would like to send out an RFP to look at getting some of that stuff painted and freshened up. Item 12, the chipper has been repaired. It's back at Public Works. As soon as we found out it was available, it went and got picked up, so there was no fees to have it sit there on site. And they're using right now is to go ahead and clean up all of the yard debris that's down at the fishing piers and get all of that addressed and taken care of. So everything will be nice and pretty before our next event. But they've already started working today, and we'll be working next week to get all that cleared up and cleaned up. The item 13 on there, I know this is a project that you're interested, Mr. Williams. If you'd like, I can send you over some of the proposals that I've gotten so far and some of the designs of that. If you just want to look more into that, but there's a couple signs that have been requested to put up at the Packlet Station Park. And I've got some cost estimates on various types of materials for that.
yeah.
Item 17 is the next bulk waste dumpster day is scheduled for April 18th. Just wanted you all to be aware of that.
Flyers were distributed at the post office today.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a time for that?
Sir?
Do you have a time for that?
I believe we start at 9 for that. Starts at 9 o'clock until they get filled up.
Thank you.
Currently, we're going with 4 dumpsters, but if council would like, we can do more. I think there was only one event, I believe, that we ended up having to have 6 out there, plus the
Metal dumpster.
metal dumpster.
Do you have the contact information from Mr. Lee?
If you can remind me about that, or just text it to me,
I will.
so we can make sure that he's out there. Item 18 is, there was, council recently approved a flood ordinance back in the fall of 25, and the first permit that was issued for that is for the new kayak launch that will be off of Neal Road, and that will be installed before the Paddle the Packlet, the event. If you'd like, I can give you, I will send an aerial of what it looks like now. They've cleared that entire area all the way down to where the river is, and they'll be coming in and putting in gravel to cover that entire road. But by the time the Paddle the Packlet event comes, it'll be open to the public. It may be kind of temporarily open, maybe closed a little bit during that event, depending on all that's going on. Item 19, one of the concerns we had was having enough transportation for all the kayakers. On certain trips, we have a lot more interest than others. And one of the concerns we had from working with Vintage View Adventures was having enough transportation for the kayakers. And so I reached out to District 3, and they kindly agreed to provide a school bus and a driver that day. They provide more if we need that, but that would be an in-kind service to the town for that event. Item 20 is just an FYI. People are asked a lot about what's going on with the cloth room. So that is the information, that's the most recent information that I have received from Mr. Lyles, and you've probably seen they've started cleaning up the lot out there. And I think soon they'll start kind of doing a little more work, but a lot of what holds him up out there are the tax credit approvals from and SHPO is the State Historic Preservation Office. Item 21, I want to make sure that I pay special attention to. If there is any code enforcement issue that a council member sees throughout the town, please email me or text me the address and the concern so that we make sure that that ends up being a priority. I go based off of what I've seen and what has been priorities in the past, but I want to make sure that if there are certain things that y'all are seeing out there that you're getting a lot of complaints about, that can rise a little bit higher in priority and get taken care of quicker. Item 23, we've got the architect that's currently working for the town for the Opry House will be coming by, I believe, next week, and he's going to look at the basement to give a quote for doing the evaluation for the PD of renovating the downstairs.
Can we back up to 22 when you're done with 23?
Sir?
Can we back up to 22 when you're done with 23?
Sure, we can go right back where I'm done on 23.
So, I see what they're saying with all the driveways. So we need an alternate option. If Jonesville can do it, we can do it. The idea that they just don't like it, so it's dead, is not going to work for me anyways. If they want no parking but a narrow road, that's fine. We could use the space for special event parking, whether food trucks or whatever. But at some point, that road needs to be redone properly. And I think if Jonesville can do it, if Cowpens can do it, if every other little town can do it, then we can do it. We may have to get creative. So ask them what they suggest, and if they don't have any suggestions, then we'll just have to keep proposing new things.
So what I'll do is I'm asking for further clarification of why he had some issues with this, and I'll give that once I get that response, and I'll kind of poke him a little bit more to try to get some more information on that. Now, if DOT decides that they're not interested in doing this at all, they do work for the General Assembly, so we could also reach out to Mr. Moss.
Yeah, keep
and go
poking,
that
whatever
route.
it takes.
Well, I would say on this too, they took a quick look. Why don't we take a more extensive look at it? Have them come down and take a look at it.
Are we trying to have more than just the lines painted? Are you trying to have parking put along there too? Is that why?
I'm
it's
trying to
being-
rework the whole road, so it's actually like an attractive pedestrian-friendly space.
Possibly a bike lane.
Narrower, so you don't have to cross like essentially 3 or 4 lanes. You can just cross 2 crosswalks, either bump outs for local events or whatever. The road's not really set up for the traditional downtown style, but we could make it closer.
So it's more.
I don't
it's
think we
more-
need that big wide turning lane. We don't really have any traffic on that street.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
okay. So it is more,
We-
I was wondering why they were
clearly
saying
don't-
no to the restriping, but it's a whole makeover.
Yeah, we clearly don't need parking right now, but
If they're gonna do it, why
It's
not
not-
just go ahead?
I'm sorry?
I said, if they're gonna do anything, why not go ahead and get it done?
Yeah, they don't have to be parking spaces. They could be, I don't know, beautification spots. You could have planters. We can get creative to make it actually an attractive, thoroughfare versus what it is now, which
Okay.
is just,
Yeah, I was
hideous.
just trying to understand why they were saying no to restriping. I thought they were just painting, but we're going
No
to try to
idea.
do a makeover. And that would be a
If the
positive
parking's the
thing.
issue, we can just eliminate the parking and use it for beautification spots. We could do adopt-a spots. We could have people, you know, we could make it a competition. Literally anything would be better than what it is. But crosswalks, 100%. We need to, you know, make it more walkable.
While we're on the discussion of number 9 right there, it's my understanding that it's expected to be resurfaced later on this year.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be this year, but in the next year or two, they're going to be resurfacing. You've already seen them do a little bit on 176, but they'll go from Whitestone, Glendale down to West Main Street, and then number 9 from 176 to Union County.
Yeah, this is pretty high priority. I think if we can get ahead of that,
Is that on, is
don't wanna miss that.
that going to stay like it is now? They went out and pre-cut the bad spots, and so it's gonna be another year before they get back in there. Is that what you said?
I do not know how soon they will get into it. I will check with the state and kind of get a schedule of when they expect to come back and do the resurfacing out there.
Okay.
I like to under-promise and over-deliver on there. I don't want to say it's going to be later this year and it's not done until next year because they had a scheduling issue.
And check on that, please, because there's a lot of complaints about the road being in worse condition now than it was prior to.
So item 24, there was an RFP for on our website and at the state procurement site for renovations at the police department. And it'll come due on the 23rd. 2 options for there. I'd like to have a committee so it's not just myself that's reviewing these proposals when they come in. It can either be done by the Public Works and Infrastructure Committee to review it, which is typical since it's a building of the town. However, it may also make sense that the Public Safety Committee is the one who actually reviews it as it's specific to that particular building. Or if y'all wanted to create a different committee. But I'd like to know who wants to be on that committee so that when those do come through, that I can forward those off to those individuals and we can go ahead and plan to have a sit down on that.
Well, I think that public safety would fall into that also. It might also Public Works, but I think public safety would definitely
Okay.
fall into that. It's directly related.
Is the rest of the council, y'all go with public safety reviewing that along with Mr. or Chief Hawes?
Sure.
Yeah.
Item 25, there are 9 Bradford pears that are invasive trees that are behind the police department. And there has been a request to have those removed. Had a initial cost, no, I didn't send it out to bid. I just talked to someone that I've has seen do work in the town and has provided a cost of $21,575 for both the removal, the stump grinding, the haul away, and then also to install the new town tree, which is the October Glory. This is preliminary quote. It will still need to go out to bid. Another option is that this could be done in-house, and our Public Works employees would cut down the trees and grind them up, put them through the chipper, haul all the stuff away. We'd also work with Duke Energy, as there are 3 trees that have power lines going through them. There's a possibility of having Asplund, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, and having them come out and trim those back first, and they may be able to cut down the trees altogether since they go through their power lines.
Yeah, I don't like any of these numbers. These are way too high.
Yeah, I think it's very,
The problem is we've let these giant weeds, as Bradford pears are, go so long that now it is more expensive because they're in the power lines. They're not just in the power lines. The back side of the building, I think Officer Hensley was saying, had like pulled a line off the building or was rubbing a line or something. That's not something I'd want our public works guys to handle. That's why I asked for the numbers. They can absolutely take down the other trees. I think we can get better prices on grinding too, even if we just rent a grinder ourselves. But these trees were mentioned years ago and we just keep letting them go and get worse, and power line problem is worse and worse. So, and we can have volunteers plant trees. We can get these trees for $150 a pop. So I would say have Public Works do what they can, as long as they don't get into those power lines. And if we can get the work done for free with Duke, great. If we can't, then we're gonna have to, do 1 or 2 trees with a professional.
Another option I had been looking at is the forestry department does like trees for SC. I don't know what all the qualifications
Yeah,
for
they
that
give you
would
like
be.
little 6-inch saplings.
They don't offer any kind of help for invasive stuff, because Clemson.
No, they do.
They do?
They'll
They,
give you a
like-
free little sapling.
But they don't help remove invasive species.
Oh, no, they don't do the removal.
And then Clemson doesn't offer anything like that either, because I know for a
No,
while they were.
None of the removal. They'll give you a little tree though.
Okay.
I'm not sure though, there's one of the local colleges that has a like landscaping division and all that. I'm not sure if that's upstate. I'm not sure, that might be something to look into that they,
Like how,
Community college, or whatever it's called at this time, has a horticulture
that's what I'm thinking of.
yeah, department.
class and department. We could inquire to, we could look at having what Duke Power will do, and then our Public Works Department finish up with the removal. We can have it then ground up, and maybe have a special event for Arbor Day, as far as we adopted this particular tree on Arbor Day last year as our town tree. Maybe this coming year on Arbor Day or in the future, we'll have an event to plant some of these town trees.
Yeah, Arbor Day's this month, so
Yeah.
let's get on it.
Coming up quick.
I would think that getting Duke Energy, that's kind of standard for them to cut around the power lines. I think the trees are plenty small enough that Public Works could handle them. We have a brand new refurbished chipper that's ideal for that. Also, the October Glory is a lot bigger tree. I don't think we need to put 9 of them back in that place.
No,
You know, I
2,
mean,
3.
yeah, 2 or 3
And
trees.
we've had a working relationship with Ashland in the past for when our chipper was down, that we contracted them to do some debris and removal. We might want to check with them and see whatever Duke Power does not cover, what they would charge us to finish up.
The only other thing is there's, depending on the cost, there may not be money in the Public Works to be able to cover some of this. So we have to get, it may have to come out of capital, or it may have to come out of something else. That's one
Let's do everything we can
Yeah.
for free and then revisit.
I'm sure the trees that we bring in are going to be, 10-foot trees, maybe 8, 10-foot trees. That can be, another volunteer program to dig holes. It doesn't take much to dig a couple 3-foot holes.
Just a suggestion, I had mentioned last year during budget time, if council wanted to create a tree committee as part of being a Tree City USA. And if you wanted to, there was a suggestion that you could create a tree ordinance. And if there's anything that was cut in town larger than a certain caliper, that there would be a fee that was paid, and then that fee would go into a budget that committee would oversee. And then whenever the town wants to replant trees, it could come out of that particular fund.
I like the concept. I prefer the carrot over the stick though. Maybe offer a free tree versus fining them, essentially.
It's typically done in, like, especially if we'd have a developer coming in and doing a big clear cutting of everything. I know that in the city of Anderson, they have anything over a certain caliper, they won't even let them cut down. But then you may have something where, in some communities I've worked in, if there's a tree in your yard that's over a certain size, you have to go before the tree committee to be able to even cut it down, and they may not approve that.
I don't think Packlet's ready for all that.
I don't like it.
Could it be,
Let's run through these.
like,
We got,
if you
about
had to
50.
use
got
a
quite the
removal
agenda.
company? Like, if it was something where you were paying somebody separately, could you make it so that only, like, the property owner would never have to pay? If they want to go ahead and do it, they can do it. But if you're bringing in a separate business entity to do it, perhaps they pay a fee.
But they're going to be charging the customer more, so it's still,
That's, well,
if there's a fee passed down, they're going to just charge.
that's true.
I
So
don't think,
what we'll go ahead and do is I think we'll work with Public Works and go ahead and clear out as much as we can on our own, work with Duke Energy to go ahead and clear out as much as we can around the power lines. And then what we can't do in-house, I'll bring back to you if there's potentially needing quotes or more volunteers or some other options out there.
sounds good.
Can we move on, Patrick?
We can. Item 28, I just wanted you to bring to your attention. There were some issues that were brought to my attention in the audit. And so I've been reviewing that with the auditor. That will be corrected, and you'll get an updated copy of those particular pages that had some errors in there. And then item 30 on there, we've received, several applications for the foreman position, and I'll be reviewing those and scheduling interviews next week or the following week. Once we get down to a final group, if there's a council member or two that wants to be involved, especially someone who's involved in public works infrastructure, I'd love to get some additional eyes kind of, or someone listening to them before make a determination on who we end up hiring. Is there any questions from my report, including the finances, the building department?
Did the Chief, you have anything else?
I'll just say the statistics out loud, just under 200 calls for service for the month, over 1,400 officer engagements. Everything's pretty stable, pretty calm, knock on wood as they say, no surprises. Everything's going like we expect it to. Any questions I can answer for anybody?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 10, Board, Commission, and Committee. Consider appointment of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Yes, there was one person who made a request to be on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and that was Heath Henderson, who lives in the town of Packlet on Briarwood. But he would be interested if the town wanted to consider him for the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I make a motion to nominate Heath Henderson to Board of Zoning Appeals.
I second.
Before we go any further, was there someone that you was wanting to nominate?
That was, it was
Okay.
him. Yes, that was him.
All in favor of the nomination? Any against? Item number 11, unfinished business. Consider the second reading ordinance amended 2026-00 for non-conformant manufactured mobile homes and single-family homes.
Motion to approve on second reading, ordinance amendment 2026-01.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Section B, consider a second reading of ordinance amended 2026-03, amendment to Section 4-1.9, landscaping buffer requirements.
Motion to approve on second reading. Ordinance Amendment 2026-03.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Item number C, consider a second reading ordinance amended 2026-02 to modify the C1 transition commercial district regulation.
On this particular one, I had made a motion to approve last time. And then we lost a local restaurant, and I kind of got to thinking about this a little more. And it reminded me that, I try to work with people. I know some of you guys don't think that. Try to get along with people. But I'm a conservative, like a staunch conservative, and I had to remind myself why I got on council, to try to limit government, limit regulation as much as possible. And this particular ordinance kind of bothered me as I dug deeper, or this amendment. I'm not sure exactly what planning's trying to accomplish here. It looks like they just want to limit the restaurants in these commercial areas. So just some details. There's 10 lots total, 10 parcels in the town that are zoned this C1. They include Phil's, they include China King, 2 current restaurants. This would, if there was ever a lapse or China King closed or Phil's closed, then the owners of those property would have to come before the town and make a case and come to us and try to get the ability back to open a restaurant in a property that's always had a restaurant, a property that's clearly commercial. All of these properties are on Highway 9 and Highway 150. They're not like back in neighborhoods. I'm always going to try to side with personal property rights. I'm going to try to limit town council power to some degree. I don't want people having to come to us and ask if they can use their property. And there's balance in that. It's never that black and white, but this planning commission approved these zoning ordinances recently, and it seems like when a property owner actually needs something done so they can sell a property, so they can open a business, it's like, no, we can't do that. We can't just be changing things, and then just out of nowhere, they're changing the zoning for 10 properties. And I don't know of any resident that actually requested this or any issue that came up. So I'm not sure if maybe their intent wasn't clear, but if it's just to restrict property further and people using their property and having to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals and have public hearings so they can use their property, I can't in good conscience vote for this again. I would love to be, I would be a better politician if I could be the populist guy and just keep my, put my finger to the wind and, 10 people I know are for this and 5 are against, so I guess I'm for it. That would make me a better politician. I don't want to be that guy. So I have to stick to my conservative principles on this one. So I'm going to make a motion. We actually kill this ordinance amendment.
Patrick, I know there's been a lot of discussion about residences having a fire and burning. How would this affect a restaurant in this zone that burned down, over 51%.
They're still in compliance because it's
Would
not
not-
prohibited.
If a restaurant burned down in that particular section, if it would not be able to,
It would then be non-conforming.
I
No,
don't
it's
know. I
not
think it's-
non-conforming because it's not prohibited. We didn't prohibit it. It's
Yeah, it doesn't prohibit it. I
They would
don't-
have to go in
I
front.
don't
Conditional,
think, I have to think about it. Y'all may want to table this so I can ask
Yeah,
Larry
so
about this.
let me withdraw my motion. I would like to get more from the planning commission. I don't believe that their intent is actually to create more hardship for property owners. I think we're missing something here.
Yeah,
Again, these are main roads, there's only 10 parcels, there's 2 current restaurants here. I know the town doesn't want to lose more restaurants. I'm not saying this alone would make lose it. I'm just saying if we lost one, it'd just be harder to get one back. And this town has a hard enough time supporting restaurants. You know, I don't think anyone's complaining that they live near Phil's or China King. They're just not nuisances. So if we can get clarification on what exactly they're trying to accomplish. I noticed in there some wording about lighting. I think we already have ordinances about lighting. We did in the old one. I know.
The old ordinance did. It was not in the new one. That was missed.
I think that's actually really important because we had a very comprehensive, very thoughtful lighting ordinance that we should think about putting in, which may solve their issue. Obviously, no one wants floodlights through their bedroom window, which isn't currently an issue. If that's their concern, I think we can address that in a better way that protects personal property rights.
There's not a lighting ordinance, but there are sections within the ordinance that do address lighting. In certain areas, you couldn't have outward-facing lighting or lighting that goes onto another piece of property, but it's primarily when you've got a commercial property that's adjacent to a residential.
I remember reading it when I was opening my place. It was mostly commercial, lighting facing down to protect light pollution, sign lighting where it could be facing, stuff like that. I remember reading it.
Yeah, what I mentioned just now is what's in the current ordinance. But there's not a separate section to go over really lighting itself from residential to residential.
Oh, so we do have some
It's primarily for
current.
commercial to residential.
Say that again, there's no commercial
Within the
regulations?
zoning ordinance itself, there is, so in the previous zoning ordinance, there was a whole section on just lighting itself. In the current ordinance, there's a particular section, I remember this coming up because I think the property that was on 150 Glen Springs Road, the old doctor's office. Here, it's under that particular zoning C2, it said retail goods store, and so that was what was going to be potentially going in there. Exterior lights must not reflect onto adjoining residential property.
Yeah.
And so that's in there under the conditional uses on here.
Okay, so what I saw with the old ordinance was a whole lighting design,
Correct.
like a very comprehensive lighting design, which I'm not saying we need to be that comprehensive. I think it was pretty restrictive. And again, I'm not big on restrictions and regulations, but I thought that had moved over into the new one or some of it. If it hasn't, then
In the previous one, it was, if say, for instance, you had a Best Buy that was going on, there's a lighting schedule and a lighting plan that has to be done for the entire parking lot based off of certain lumens throughout the whole area, and
Yep,
all that
yep.
stuff was dictated. This is primarily when there's residential next to commercial. Now, we currently have some complaints right now between residential to residential, and there's nothing that prohibits residential to residential.
yeah, it sounds like maybe we're not dialed in on the real, what they're looking to do. So I make a motion, we table it.
I think-
And the reason this came up was, it was kind of a compromise. So remember the property that came up on the old doctor's office that was on there? C3 had too much enabled for someone to be able to do. And after kind of thinking about it, some of the properties that you've mentioned, the China King, Phil's, probably should be C3. And C1 is reserved for almost neighborhood commercial stuff.
Well, like, C1 allows drugstores and pharmacies, like, these are extended hours type businesses, but they're not regulated, it's just restaurants. I think the town
I think a
kind of
lot of
wants
the
restaurants.
problem came in that C1 and C2 are almost redundant. Like
Yes.
if you read C1 and C2, they're almost like identical. It's like, why do we have two districts that look exactly like that? And then in addition to that, like with R10s and R20s, we already have allowances for certain businesses to be in those anyway. Like you can have like hair shops and things like that. So we have too many districts that it's almost like, which one do you pick? Because we don't need all of that. We really kind of need to
You're exactly right.
consolidate them.
It
That's
was-
really
yeah,
what it's.
You're exactly right. C1 and C2 were too identical. It was almost like there's no need for C2 if you had C1. And so it was made, that was exactly right, to make C1 a little more restrictive in certain areas where it probably would have made sense to make some of those areas that are on the main streets C2s.
Yeah, well, let's dial in on that and address the real issue versus,
And that's what this
I
was
can't
gonna do, is
imagine.
it was gonna correct C1 to be a true neighborhood commercial on there. And some of your properties that are on 9 aren't really neighborhood commercial, they're commercial. And they need to be, it makes more sense for them to either be C4 or C2. The hydraulic shops that are in town are actually currently located in C1, which doesn't allow that particular type of business in C1. They really need to be C4.
that was another one I noticed. It seemed like all the very distinctly commercial businesses, now you can do all these things, just not restaurants. And restaurants seem like one of the lower, they're not industrial like your hydraulic shop.
The idea was that in that particular case on 150 is no one had any problem with it being a doctor's office, being a lawyer's office, being any type of office space at all. But then the restaurant, because it potentially, because there was no restriction on restaurant, it was restaurant free will. So it could be an alcohol license, it could stay, out really, it could be open up really late. And so it was just to create a restriction on that so that it could still be in neighborhoods and that wouldn't cause any, I guess, public nuisance to the residents who live around there.
What was your motion? You say to kill it or to table it, which,
I'm gonna say table it, see if we can get some more clarification, maybe do a better fix on this.
yeah, because can we send it, like, when you table it, can we also ask for them to just maybe reevaluate? Like I said, those commercial districts are redundant and it,
Yeah,
then
if
it's
they want to do something more
confusing.
comprehensive, it
Yes.
seems like they don't want to when we need it, and then when we don't need it, they're very willing to make a lot of changes.
I
I don't
think
know
it-
why that is, but I would like to find some consistency and address actual problems versus changing China King and Phil's to like non-conforming situations. It's like we're trying to kill our restaurants, which are already dying.
No, I
can't
think,
do it.
no, yeah, I think it's, yeah.
I'll make a
think-
second to table
Yeah, I
this.
have a motion to table and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
With the motion to table, is it just for, you don't want it, it's not, that included in that motion was not for it to go back to planning commission. It was just for y'all to get some more information.
Well, it
No.
it actually shouldn't have been tabled. We should have just killed it and had them bring us a new one.
Yes.
Is probably what should have happened.
Yeah, Can we,
But do we need to redo it?
can we recall it? Can we
Take it back
recall
out
the
to
motion
table.
and the vote?
Yeah, you have to recall.
Why don't
that
you just have
wanna-
them work on a new one, and then when this comes up next week, we vote on the other one? We've already tabled it. I don't know if we can untable it. Can we untable it?
You could do that.
Yeah, you can
If
recall it from the
At the next
table.
council meeting, if you just
Yeah.
don't even bring it up at all, it dies.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just dies. Okay.
Moving on to Section 12, new business. Discussion and review of the FY 2027 Town of Packlet budget.
I included the items throughout the budget on there. I've also included a memo on there explaining several of the items in there. Really wanted to put something out there for you to consider, to get you talking or questions or anything that you would like for me to update or change or any comments on there.
I did have something. Where was it? There's one here.
Anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
The property demos, we have it budgeted for the 15 and it's going down to 10. And I'm just curious why we are lowering that when we're already talking about a property demo that's going to be $42,000. Wasn't that in our stuff earlier?
There was two quotes, one at 15 and change.
115 and 142.
Yeah,
So
if
the town has not had to do any demos in the last 4, probably 5 years, actually, if not longer. The condemnation letter that was sent out was able to scare the property owners to address their issues, and so they didn't have to. The properties that we're looking at tearing down are the railroad properties on there. If you look back through an old email that I sent to you guys, they are not saying that they wouldn't tear it down, they just don't have the funding in this year's budgets, in their real estate budget, to be able to tear it down. If they wait till a subsequent year, they potentially would have some funding to be able to cover that. And we did get an additional quote on that particular project of like $15,000 to demo and haul off that particular building and get rid of it.
so they're going to ask us to pay for it, or they're going to pay for it?
I would suggest that y'all wait a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been sitting out there for a long time, that you could wait a year and then they could come back in and potentially demo that property. The way it works on property demos is the town temporarily puts that money out and then it should come back. So that you go out there and you demo a property, if every other avenue has been, giving them all the opportunities to fix the problem, and they absolutely refuse on there, the town can go in there and demo the property and then lien the property. So the town will get their money back. It may not be,
They either pay or the town takes the property.
Right, they lien the property. Okay, so we don't anticipate having to pay that much out for that kind of stuff. Okay.
yeah. And so I kind of put it down to, in the ballpark of maybe one, just to kind of give you some money out there as a possibility.
But as of right now, it's taking care of itself. It's not
I don't
becoming-
foresee
Okay.
having to use that. I was actually pleasantly surprised with the letter that was sent out and how quickly people addressed the problems.
Seems like those demos have stalled, though.
Sir?
Seems like those demolitions have stalled. There's 2 I know of that were on the docket. Are they happening? There's some things happened, but not a lot.
If you look in the administrator's packet on there, I explained some of the demos on there. The 111 Church Street, they cleaned everything around there. The family has very sentimental value on that particular property. They really don't want to tear it down, and so I'm trying to give them some time. They keep thinking that they're going to renovate that property and bring it back up to some grandiose thing. And so I'll be working with Clark Taylor on revisiting that and letting them know that what they have done is not going to solve the problem.
It
giving them
almost
a
looks
permit
worse.
And
Sure.
giving
I
them a
like to
time
see.
limit on it, and giving them a time limit on it, so
Yes.
it doesn't sit for a year.
They did promise us in February they were going to demo the building, correct?
They were gonna clean up the property and demo, is my understanding on there. Now, when I went out there and saw that they were only cleaning up around there, I asked the contractor, I said, what's going on? And he said, they've asked me for right now just to clean up around the house itself, that they just wanted to be able to get access to it. We will be revisiting this. It will not stay at this spot. I'm just trying to.
If they had done a better cleanup job, maybe, but it's half a job. It looks pretty bad.
The way it appears is the families want to evaluate what it's going to cost them to refurbish what's there and then weigh their options.
When I mentioned to them that it was going to be a lot cheaper for them to demo the property and then sell it than fix it up, I think that I got a surprised look, and I was like, you may not have any idea what construction costs are, but
Right.
to go from where you currently are to certificate of occupancy is going to be a lot more than just demoing the property. But that will be revisited on there. Their property on 150 and Jerusalem Road, they cleaned the tree off there. They put it up for sale. I'm trying to give them opportunities to try to find somebody else to buy that property and to address it. If it goes more than 60 days on there, I will go right back to the property owner and say, you need to sell this ASAP, or you need to address this problem on here, which is either demo or bring it up to code. Or the town will go on there and do it themselves.
There was a realtor sign in front of the property.
There is a for sale sign. I've gotten multiple calls from several people who are interested in buying that property and rezoning it for a single-family home.
Oh, boy.
I told them-
Absolutely not. We don't rezone anything. Sorry.
I said that you're
Sorry,
welcome to
let's
put in
move
a
on.
rezoning request. That's completely up to you. I didn't think that people would want to, right there on a key corner, but they're welcome to put in a rezoning.
People like different things.
My next question on that was, looking at our current budget and what we are anticipating for business license, in which you might anticipate, I don't know if there's a big hit of them, but as of right now, on our revenues for business license, we're coming up $286,293 short. So why would we increase the business license by $5,000 when 2/3 of the year through, that's a massive chunk down?
The majority of the business license comes in between April and June.
Okay.
April is when they are due. The other thing that you're going to see a massive amount of money that comes in from the state in June, and that is for insurance companies across the entire state of South Carolina. The Municipal Association works with all the towns out there, and they charge the business license to all insurance companies across the entire state, and then divvy it up by town, and then send that to the towns. And so you will see a huge chunk that comes in June just before the close of the
Right before
year.
it closes. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Item B.
Before you go on,
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Okay.
let you
Yeah.
know something.
Okay, yeah.
The chief and I have had an opportunity to look through the budget. Last year, council approved a 9% increase to all the employees, and PD did not end up getting an increase. The chief and I have been able to evaluate the budget. We're still working through some stuff. I'll be sending you a new version at the next meeting. I've trimmed a few different sections, and he's shown me some areas that we can trim under PD for equipment and supplies and miscellaneous based on what he currently spends and what he anticipates for next year. And we anticipate being able to give a pretty good raise above the typical 3% COLA for the police department. So I didn't think y'all would have any problem with that, but I just want to let you know, he and I have been working through that. I think we're going to be able to find, and I don't want to give a number, but it's going to be higher, instead of 3%, it'd be higher than 5 or 6 for PD. But if you are, I didn't think you'd have a problem, but I'm just going to,
I would like to see that.
so it will bring us a little bit closer to what's market rate in the county.
I'd also kind of like to understand, so we had budgeted to expense $250,000 to the Packlet Station Park, which we won't be budgeting any money towards that this coming year. Why would, like, we're talking about trees possibly buying, stuff like that, so if that's going to be an ongoing project, why would we not, if we're trying to figure out where are we going to take it from? When this was budgeted at $250,000, where was that money anticipated to come from? Was that like anticipated grant stuff? Is
So
that
one
why
thing
it was
that-
so high?
Back then, I do not advise council to spend any public dollars on a property that we cannot get at least more than a year. And so all the funding, except for a small amount that was approved last year from hospitality, all the dollars were from Norfolk Southern. We had anticipated getting a $250,000 grant from Norfolk Southern, which is why that $250,000 was in on the revenue and $250,000 was on the expense. Instead, the town ended up receiving $50,000 from Norfolk Southern. And so it balances itself off. So instead of $250,000 coming in, $250,000 expense, $50,000 is coming in, and then you'll see $50,000 expense on this particular year.
Okay, so there's no more, we're not anticipating any more grant funding for that or anything?
At this time, no, but
It's
I
not out
don't
of
want to put it
question.
in there and it not come in. We will still pursue grants if that particular thing comes in, and then it'll be revenue that comes in. There may be there may be a situation where council may have to vote to amend the budget to allow that grant dollar to come in and get spent.
Okay, because that's, yeah, I mean, did we not have a line item for grants? Is there, like, it was just because we anticipated it specifically going there where other grant money could be potentially moved into different aspects?
We don't have any grants that we are expected to receive. Now, will we apply for grants? Absolutely. In the past, what I had done was, it was almost, the grant section on there was a wishful thinking. And I'd rather it not be a wishful thinking, but a know that you're going to get it. So we will continue to apply for grants. I think we will get grants next year. When that time comes, council then could amend the budget.
So that at that point, we would decide what category it would fall under a line item expense, specifically when that money comes in?
Like, for instance,
Okay.
the town has put in for a request for funding from the South Carolina Office of Resiliency to TV the storm drains in District 1 area. Once we know that we're most likely going to get that, then I'll let you know and we'll do a budget amendment to show those revenues in and out.
So that we could be tracking it month by month too on that line item itself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, because that would ideal, so that would give a more clear and concise money of how that grant money is being sent transparently to the public at that point?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
If y'all are okay with this, I will go ahead and make that adjustment for PD. I'll send that over to you. If you feel there's a need to have a workshop, that's an additional meeting for you guys if you want to do that. If not, I can go ahead and make that adjustment and
We
have a
don't know what
first
the
reading.
adjustment is.
Sir?
We don't know what the adjustment is.
It was an adjustment that I think, a lot of it ended up coming out of PD based on what the chief anticipates spending on there, but I'll send it to you. What I was going to say is, do you want at the next council meeting to have this as a first reading? You can always amend it and have a workshop afterwards, but you still have to have 2 readings and you have to have a public hearing
Right.
before it gets approved. And if there's nothing approved by July 1st, we can't spend any dollars.
Right?
Did you, when you were checking for like utility costs, I know you did increase some of that, but like some things like, I noticed just randomly, like postage went over. Did you evaluate stuff that's been going over budget like that where we needed to bump up? You did, like, 'cause
Yes.
the postage didn't go up any. Was that just a fluke this year? We had extra stuff, or like, because all costs are going up right now, so.
Right. I've evaluated some of that stuff on there. Some of the items that you'll see were pretty good on there. There are other categories where we've been able to cover some of the overruns in like a postage versus an office supplies. Does that make sense on there?
Yes, it absolutely does, but do we not have to account for the fact that the postage technically went over budget? Is that not something we're required to do?
I don't know the answer to that. When I worked in Georgia, yes. Before, at the very end of the year in Georgia, they actually passed an amended budget before the end of the year, so it accounted for all the overruns. Let me check the municipal association and see what the law is for South Carolina.
Yeah, because I don't quote me on that, but I think that we do have to account for things that do go over budget with an amendment. Like, I think we do.
Any other discussion? Okay, we move on to item B. Consider the first reading ordinance 2026-05 to authorize and regulate short-term rentals.
You want to talk about this, Jamie, or do you want me to dive in?
Do you-
Oh, we can. We can.
Motion and then discuss.
You can do it however you want.
Yeah.
I would like to make a motion to allow the STRs.
Second.
Now, question about the ordinances that you asked for from Calpens.
Point of order, I just want to make sure that you are aware of this, because I don't want to, the planning commission voted 4-1 to deny this. It still comes to y'all to consider, but I just want to let you know that they did have a denial for this.
They did.
Did they give you any, like, concise reasoning?
Some of the reasoning that came up, some of the reason that came up was they were okay with it, but not in residential areas. They were concerned about potential strangers being in areas where elderly live that may get scared of newcomers in the area. There was concern for, give me a second. I wrote down some of those. Yes, so there was a concern that the town doesn't have the infrastructure to support it, both water and sewer.
Did they dive into that in any detail? Like,
There was no diving into detail on that, no.
on the
It was just a
infrastructure?
comment.
No info on?
So those were some of the main issues on there, the strangers in the area, the infrastructure. This is something that I highly doubt that you'll see the town overrun. I think Calpens actually reached out to Steve Boland, who's the town administrator there. I think he actually has one in the whole town.
Oh, wow, we had them beat at one point. We had 2, right?
The town had 2, not at the same time. There was
Okay.
one that was located on Mount Zion Road when I first got here, and then there was one that was done in Kalen Shea, Michael Estates.
Okay.
I think with the, looking at the master plan, and we want people coming and spending a weekend here at the river, they need a place to stay. And we don't want to wait until we have all of our activities here to start saying, okay, now let's, see what short-term rentals we can do. If we have, you're not going to see 50 people running out short-term rentals right now. There's just not the people to stay here. Just to get ahead of this and be ready
Yeah.
for it when it comes.
Did they say that they prefer hotels, like full-on hotels? Is that what they're wanting?
I think it was more of a where. I think that because I started.
They did not want it in
after you said
neighborhoods,
that,
they
it
did not
triggered.
want it in residential areas at all.
They wanted them more in the commercial zone. I forgot, I did watch that, and I remember them saying about the elderly, because there are people that are established in certain neighborhoods that, it would be kind of odd for this tiny little circle of people that are all older to have some strange person there.
But it's going to be highly regulated. We have rules that they have to apply by. You're going to have,
Yeah, you can have.
I don't think that it was that they didn't want it at all. I think they wanted it to be more specific to certain zonings and not just open to the entirety of the town.
So the alternative is there. It's odd to me that like long-term rentals are okay. Like a stranger moves in, someone they don't know. I don't have a problem with that. I guess some people do, but then the infrastructure and the stranger issue. This is short-term. This is like one night, maybe a weekend, versus long-term, which has greater strain on infrastructure. Short-term, by definition, is less strain on infrastructure. So I don't understand that part. But then, as far as the area you had mentioned, you're actually in favor of Mill Hill.
Yeah, I personally don't mind that they go in. I mean, I think it's a good way to get revenue in for business license. I think that if somebody wants to rent their home out, fine, especially, and see, that's another thing too. The zoning ordinance and the code I am not for putting it in there where they're allowed until for sure everything is like passed where we have the regulations in place. So I really like the ordinance from Calpens, like the one that you had asked to have that sent over. Do we need to get that in place before we open the zoning up to that kind of stuff? Because I think that's where it's like I think that's part of the Planning Commission wants to understand it better before they just say yes. Whereas I think this is, am I wrong in thinking that if we do this one, it's just kind of saying yes to, I know that there are
No, I mean-
regulations in here, but if they're not in the municipal code too,
No,
How
we
does
can just
that
add it, we can just add it to those zones that we want. We don't have to change zoning.
But I'm saying from like a legality standpoint, is the zoning ordinance, like regulating them, is it enough without having the ordinance passed in the municipal code too? So for instance, I'm trying to explain
we have
it.
to-
So
that's what we're doing here,
If Chief
though.
Hawes gets called out to one of these situations, he at that point would be enforcing the zoning ordinance, which would actually have to have Patrick there because he's the zoning administrator. Whereas if it's in our municipal code, then it's not an issue. I
No,
don't-
he
that's
would
where I'm
be,
unclear.
no, he'd be addressing, I'm not trying to speak for you, Chief, a disturbance, which is already laws in place. If they're not breaking the law, then they should not be bothered.
But we don't have the laws like this, or, do you understand what I'm saying, Patrick?
No, but there
with
shouldn't be any
the-
special laws for them. Like, if they break the law, then that's an issue. We can actually shut down that Airbnb or Vrbo or whatever. But there's no reason anyone should be, the police should ever be called if a law isn't broken that's already in place.
But that's, like, the zoning ordinance part, this
Mm-hmm.
part that's written here, the one that's gonna go into our zoning ordinance, is the police station, or anyone from the police, are they allowed to enforce just the zoning ordinance? That's
For
what I'm
what?
asking.
Why would they need to?
Because this is where, right now, you say that the business license gets revoked. We don't have all that kind of stuff in our municipal code yet.
Well, the same thing would be for a business that has business license. What do you mean? That's a civil thing.
So
Okay, I'm
if you-
trying to.
We already have rules for business licenses.
No, where in our municipal code does it say that if you are a short-term rental owner, that you could have your business license revoked? Where in a municipal code does it say that?
Well, it's not in there yet, because it's not allowed.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Do we need to make sure that's being passed so that all the legality of it is there to enforce what we need
This,
to enforce?
I just asked him to send this over as an example for us to work off of.
No, I mean, this
We've
is,
got
so what you're saying on here
Are we
is,
looking at the cow pens one right now, or?
the zoning ordinance goes into the municipal code.
Okay.
So if you look on here on section 6.1,
Yeah, I'm not
and I'll
understanding what-
scroll down here for it.
I'm missing something.
Like, all of the things that are written in the zoning ordinance can go ahead and be enforced once this part is passed. There's nothing that would stop, because there's stuff more specific in the zoning ordinance than there is in our municipal code. In this specifically written ordinance, there's more specific stuff that can be enforced than what we have in our current municipal code. So when you're saying when it goes in there, since it's then becomes part of our municipal code, all of it can be enforced exactly as written on the zoning ordinance, correct?
Zoning ordinance is the same thing as any other municipal ordinance. Zoning ordinance is part of the municipal ordinance. Typically, because of the size of the zoning ordinance, it's put on two separate documents, but the zoning ordinance is part of the municipal code.
Okay, who enforces the zoning ordinance?
Myself and Mr. Clark.
Okay, that is where my question lies, okay? Because putting this in there, it does put it into the municipal code, but it only allows you to enforce action on this. What if we need police presence?
The same thing if we need police presence at my house.
So if there's a nuisance at any house, whether there's a short term or not, the police department can go out there and address that. Now, as it relates to this, if they are in violation of anything on their short term rental there, or if on here it says, if the zoning administrator determines based on documented police reports, verified neighbor complaints, and inspection findings that the property has become a recurring nuisance, the administrator may suspend the short-term rental permit for a specified period or revoke the permit for up to 12 months. And they can appeal that to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Right, okay, but we are sure that all of the things that are in this zoning ordinance are covered in the municipal code though too, like the nuisances, all that stuff, that specific language. There's nothing that would have to be specific to rentals in the code. I'll look through it and I'll give you a more specified question about what I mean by that.
Since there's a lot of questions and confusion on some of the things pertaining to this, I'll make a motion that we table it and review it and get some of this doubt and clouds worked out before we pass this, before we pass the first reading of it.
I'd like to go forward with something.
There's still, I think there's a motion in a second right now.
Okay?
Oh, yeah, there
We get to
are.
vote on it. We spent 20 minutes on it.
Well, I'm not going to give my whole speech that I just did a second ago, but we've already shut down someone. And again, I'm super conservative, and I feel like we're like on this slide towards anti-business, take away people's ability to use their property. That's why I want to bring this back. I kind of feel for the people that were running, this very needed business, and we were just like, no, we're closing you, and we're not giving you any options. They've been closed for 2 years now. I mean, we could just delay and delay, but
It's been close for about a year and a half, the Airbnb that was in Michael Estates.
now, Chantel, if you wanna adjust, I'd be fine rolling out like a limited, like Mill Hill and commercially zoned areas only. Try it out, but I would like to see people back in business. But if that helps
No,
you move
I
forward.
don't mind them being anywhere. Like, I don't have any issue with them going in. My issue is with the legality of regulating
Yeah, I
them.
think
That's all, that's my
we
only.
know it's in the code, so it's enforceable.
Okay. I would like time to read the nuisance code to make sure that the nuisance code and what's written in the zoning ordinance, there's no discrepancy there that somebody could have wiggle room to say, oh, well, this wasn't there and you can't. Because then are we leaving Patrick to go out there and enforce something that a police officer would need to be enforcing?
Well, nuisance code is not
Their business
administrative.
and not
That's
allow them to
Right,
have it.
he can't, yes, and he can do that, but if it escalates past that point, and,
that's police action.
okay, well, like I said.
Yeah, it's my job to enforce any part of the existing municipal code or delegate someone to do that. Council delegated the responsibility to have a code enforcement officer to be Mr. Clark Taylor, but I still have the ability to go out and do just what we're talking about. Now, am I going to go carry a gun in the badge? Probably not. And what will end up happening is we will basically send them a notice.
He says
Yeah,
no,
you're-
he says sorry.
I think Chantel's talking about escalation into a criminal matter. In which
Yeah, if it
case it's
escalates to
clear
a criminal
that the
matter and they
police-
start coming after me as a zoning administrator, this guy hopefully steps in.
Right,
then it's a
and
police
we
matter.
want him to be able to, that's what I'm saying. I found often that our municipal code is lacking in some things. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that our police force is lacking in anything, but they have to follow what our municipal code says. I want to make sure it's not lacking, if that makes sense.
Yes.
We got to do 2 readings.
Well, and that's, I can do my research in the meantime.
Yeah.
That's
But
my
it's-
hang up right there. I don't have enough to say, okay, I mean, there's been multiple times I've read our municipal code and gone, we need more clarity
be
on
this-
some of the stuff.
It would be the same as is in the nuisance code right now. If someone didn't cut their grass or something like that, they'll be issued we'd give them an opportunity to fix the situation. If they absolutely refused on there, then Mr. Clark Taylor would issue a code enforcement ticket for this particular section, citing this particular section on here, and they would be brought into court. And then the court system would handle it at that point.
So
We have-
Yeah, we have a motion.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second.
You can call, someone can call the question.
Yeah, do what?
If someone says, I'd like to call the question, then you vote.
I would like to call the question.
All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4. So you have, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. In favor. Is there
All against?
2 that are against?
Yes, right.
So the motion passes. This was first reading. There'll be
First
a
reading, yes.
second reading
Yeah.
at the next council meeting. If anybody has additional questions or would like to get further clarification from the attorney, please let me know. And if you'd like, if he is feeling well, I can see if I can have him here for the next meeting to answer questions directly for y'all.
Moving on to item C, consider first reading ordinance 2026-04 to amend section 6-18, article 2 of the Code of Ordinance relating to building code adopted.
I'm going to motion to move this I'm going to make a motion to move ordinance 2026-04 to amend section 618, article 2 of the Code of Ordinances relating to building codes adopted to the committee for planning, development, administrative, and finance for them to go ahead and get more information on this, because I've done more research on it, and they have not implemented these codes yet. So the way that it works through the South Carolina Building Code Council is that they put out the notice to intent to modify and adopt the codes. Then they have a period in which all local jurisdictions have 6 months to ask for any current modifications. That period's passed, and the study committee has gone ahead and given a recommendation, but the Building Code Council still has to go through an adoption and an implementation process that I'm not sure why they didn't do it this time. The last one was in 2023, and they typically do it every 3 years, and the way that they've done it previously is 2021 got adopted in 2021, implemented in 2023. And for some reason, the 2024 editions did not get adopted in 2024, kind of fell dead in the water in 2025, but they've passed the modifications for the local. We're past that point. We couldn't ask for a modification if we wanted to, but they have to implement them. And when we pass it, it's implemented immediately. I'd like to get a little more information on how other local jurisdictions do this, because we can't put a future date on implementation. Once we pass it, it's passed. So how are we going to align with what they're passing, where we are passing the codes we need to, but also I need to find out if there's a grace period and things there. And I think that that would be a good thing for the committee to look into before we just pass it, and also to look at other ordinances related to this.
I second your motion.
Any other discussion on it?
So that would come back to us after the,
When I've also spoken with Brian from CCNI, because this whole process is very confusing, and from reading this stuff on their website, he said that what happens is he will eventually get information that says when they're going to implement things and do stuff, and he is willing to work with us and let us know when he gets that, so we know when we need to do what we
but
need to
after
do.
that committee looks at it, it'll come back to us to vote on it.
Yes,
Okay.
because if we table it, then we would lose this completely, and we don't want to lose it because the writing of it is probably good. It's just where does it fit and when do we do it?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Item D, consider resolution to adopt speed limit on Fernwood Drive.
We have to make a motion to do that?
Is that already done?
No, this is on Fernwood Circle.
Oh.
Fernwood
Yeah, go ahead.
Fernwood Circle. I'd like to make a motion to go ahead to change the speed limit to 20 miles an hour on Fernwood Circle.
Second.
Any other discussion on that?
Exactly where is Fernwood Circle?
It hooks from 9 onto Briarwood.
Okay.
You know where Mr. Snap lives? That's where it is.
So what was the speed limit? 35?
There's no speed limit, so
There's no-
fall back to 35.
There's no sign, and so the way it works in the town of Packard, if there's no sign and it hasn't been designated, all streets within the town of Packard are 35.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Item E, discussion regarding Riverfest event name.
Oh boy, the exciting one.
I'm going to make a motion to change the name to, let me get it straight here, what I want to hear,
Don't mess it up.
to the Indian Summer River Festival.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, take.
threw us a curveball there. Do you want to keep River in there?
Yes, absolutely, because I think that we have discrepancy. Oh, should it be the Indian Summerfest? Should it be the Riverfest? Why can't it be both? It's the Indian Summer
A
River
little
Festival.
wordy.
Yeah.
I don't-
disagree with that.
Why don't
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Here I thought we were going to pass.
I like the Indian Summer Festival.
Can I make a motion?
Well, there's a motion right now. If there's no
Hold on, I
second, then
gotta
it
think about
dies.
it. I thought we were going old school.
why don't we just call it Fall Fest? It's not even in the summer. It's in October.
What's an Indian?
Well, the
That's
whole-
what-
I mean,
whole
I
idea of
understand,
Indian
but still, it's,
So Indian Summer River Fest. It's got to be festival.
Fest.
Just trying to reduce lettering.
Why, do you have to write the shirts up by hand, or?
Someone.
I say we let the community vote.
yeah, let it out there.
Oh, you'll have
Community
a
votes.
hundred different suggestions.
Well, I
Does
mean,
that mean bring it to referendum?
No, I think she's asking for like an input, yeah, like not, like, you don't want to have everyone go to the ballots, no?
no.
No, just
Riverfest.
get to get input.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we could put 4 names out there that we come up with and they vote on them.
Yes.
With the criteria, if you vote, you must also volunteer.
Oh, we'll have no
I
input
agree
then.
with that one now.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to, yes, yes.
Yes.
I would actually like to keep the tradition of all chiefs and no Indians. All chiefs.
If y'all want to go the route of getting the community to vote, I need to have parameters on that, because if you put it out on Facebook, not everybody who's on Facebook lives in the town of Packlet. You may not get people who are, there's,
Well, maybe you can say if you don't have Facebook, come by the town hall. And,
Is there any way we can make this like a fun contest without people wanting to kill each other? Is there any way we can make this a fun contest without starting a war? And
I
like,
don't think so.
I know, yeah. Okay,
Let the
part 2
battle
of this. It's not on the agenda, so I'm just gonna throw it out there as an idea. If we decide to do that, do we want to try to make it truly a heritage year and move it back to Victor Park? How do people feel about that?
This is completely up to you guys. This is your circus full of monkeys and all that kind of stuff.
I would like to see it big enough that you have to do it
Are
both
we gonna
places.
get Victor
Say
Park
again?
back up and running?
The concern that we would have, at least from staff, is, at least I think, is there's not resources, power, and all that kind of stuff. There are some stuff, there would be a lot of money that need to be spent to make sure all the outlets and water and everything else work up there. And then we also have the concern of, I don't know how y'all did it before, but the trip hazard of the storm drains
gullies.
that are throughout the entire area out there.
Well, I would think maybe putting part of it up there and part of it at the flats, stuff that wouldn't need electricity, and I don't know, it's an idea.
I don't think we can
To move
split
the
it up.
location, 6 months is just not enough time to be prepared.
So here's my thought behind that. It's not just to make life harder. At some point, if we develop the flats 100 years from now or whenever it is, we're gonna have to move it because the flats are gonna be under construction for at least a year or 2, I'm guessing. So this could be a good test run. Also, it would be nostalgic if we're rolling out the, an old school name to have the old school site. I understand the logistics. I didn't know they had power and water up there. I thought they were just primitive, doing it primitive, but
There are some outlets up there, but they haven't been used, at least in the last 8, 10 years.
Last time they were used was whenever we had Christmas lights up that area. So they're probably in some desperate need of repair if we go that route. It being April the 2nd, I think between now and October, we don't have time to move the event back up to the park. I always liked the event being in the park, but I think we're probably a year and a half away from being able to do something like that. It's just my opinion.
that's an idea. don't think we can even vote on that right now.
For next year.
Let's, I don't want to kill your idea, it's got to hang in my palate a little bit.
Well, there's been a motion, there hadn't been a second, so what's the time limit on waiting on the second?
What,
I mean, we're dragging this out, it's gonna be 11 o'clock before we get out of here if we keep on.
but are we binding ourselves to by renaming it? Because there's something that I may not be a popular thing here, but Renaissance fairs, like why, maybe that's something at a different time of year we do, but what if we wanted to open up to something more like that, and now we're named a certain kind of thing, so we're bound to that, and if it's not generating anything, we don't even have the ability to kind of recreate it
Well,
unless we come back and rename it again.
That's a good point. The beauty of the term Indian summer does not actually refer to Indians. It refers to a time of year.
Specific
So
Like
you really,
harvest time, yes, I mean,
yeah,
it's what harvest
it's an
festival.
extended summer. It means like a hot
Yeah.
autumn. So you would still have that option.
Yeah.
I like it because it's unique. River Fest, well, we do have the river, I think is already being used in like Woodruff and whatnot. It's a little bland, but
Can we not just?
Indian
keep on?
Summer River
All right.
Fest.
We've had a motion, we hadn't had a second. We've got a lot of stuff printed up for this year's festival.
Yeah, we need to leave it.
We had a mailer today that went out to all the local postal patrons that had this year's logo and name already on it. So I personally make a motion that we table this, and if we want to reevaluate it for 2027, we can. But 2026 has already been a lot of money spent on this festival and preparing for October. So I'll make a motion that we table this or just kill it altogether.
I second it.
This is just a tabling.
Yes, yeah,
Table.
I second to table.
Now, if you're going to table it to anything beyond next meeting, the words will have to say tabled indefinitely so that you can bring it back
No,
up.
you can't. I looked that up after you and I talked about, tabled indefinitely kills it completely.
I've read it in Robert's Rules of Order, but
I
anyway.
have my little cheat sheet. I should have brought it with me. Because I read that last night when we were talking about that. So we need to, it says tabled indefinitely kills it. It's like killing the thing right then and there. But
I'm not going, we can reword it next month to table it indefinitely if that's what you want, if it's legal. Right now, just table this and
Yeah.
move on.
yeah, and I second tabling
I
that.
got a second. All in favor? Anybody against? Moving on to discussion regarding Packlet threads.
Okay, I brought this up because of all the questions that we've had surrounding the Packlet threads, and of course, we have this wonderful large packet, which I'm sure we're not going to dig into, but I think it is worth letting the public go ahead and have their peace of mind. I'm going to do my own due diligence to go through this, perhaps for another meeting to discuss exactly, because from what I've seen so far, the money that the town spent was $29,600 and some odd dollars, I think I sent, and from all the checks that are written out, I'm pretty positive that town money has definitely been spent on events. The reasoning, though, that I think perhaps we need to go ahead and stop opening that door and stop sending money to the thread, because it blurs the lines when we're looking at, I understand the sponsorships. Patrick and I have had that conversation about sponsors are typically more likely to give to a charity, but then we also had the vendor fees going through there. And it's kind of really hard when you have money going into a separate thing to see if you're actually making money on that event or not. So then we're having to use town resources and time, and that Patrick could have been spending on the agenda stuff, having to dig up and cover all of his costs and whatnot to show that this was done correctly. I think the better option would be to move this back into house for the vendor fees, for all the stuff. If the thread operated at all after this, I would say that they would take strictly sponsorships and then cut a straight check to the town, and the town would have its own events account, its own stuff, in which we could actually go back and look and say, yes, this is what came in, this is what went out, we did or didn't make money. I couldn't even tell you if these events made money based off of having to go back. Do you know how long, and how's Patrick going to answer that question? He would have to dig between all of the thread and all of because according to our audit, we also spent $40,000 on it. That was one of the things that we think is an error in the audit. So supposedly Packlet Thread has covered the entirety of the cost of the event, and yet our audit's saying we spent $40,000 on that. So now we have all this weird gray area that we can't explain to people. I think we've overcomplicated it at this point.
You might be right. Let me ask you this. Would you like to be on the board?
No.
Okay.
No, I would not.
I think we need to offer, some incentive for sponsors to get tax benefits. I mean, everyone else
So-
is offering some tax benefits.
You still, in the state of South Carolina and in the federal government, if you write a check for sponsorship dollars for charity purposes to a town, you get tax deduction status on there, as far as I know. Well, I'm
you
not a
do?
CPA, so I'm not going to say 100%. The reason for the 501c3 is there's a lot of people who say, I pay taxes to government. I don't want to write a check to the government for this event. I'd rather write a check to a 501c3 where I know 100% it's a tax deductible kind of thing on there. The whole point of this was to bring in sponsorship dollars, and I wanted to get to the point where the events were what I call cost neutral, that they don't cost the town anything to put on. And the first year that was the case. It's the first year that I think in history, the Riverfest, Indian Summerfest, whatever you want to call it, actually did not cost the town any dollars. And there's still a possibility for that. But as I've had conversations with various council members, I have not enjoyed all of the extra scrutiny on here. It was done as the thing for the benefit to the town. I'm no longer interested in being on the Packlet Thread board. I'm not interested in doing additional work on this. If someone else wants to take up the 501c3, they are welcome to. I would imagine the rest of the members of the board will say, I'm not either. And so I've had a conversation with a couple of y'all, but I would recommend that the council suggest or make recommendation that the town have a Packlet Events account at First Citizens, and all of the funds for all of the events go into that account, and all of the expenses for all of the events come out of that account. So everyone can feel like that everything's all looked at and everything's wonderful, and it'll be part of the audit every year, and everyone can see everything that goes in and out 100%.
I'm fine with that. Regarding the criticism and the scrutiny and the imaginative fabrications I've heard over the years just being on the board, I think it's important to mention, and where you're at right now, like the benefit doesn't outweigh the headaches. You know, me, I think Ned, the Lyles are on there, you. We were placeholders. We've never had a meeting. You know, I've been attacked for some votes that involved Lyles and work on the town hall. We've never had a Packlet Thread board meeting. I was supposed to be a placeholder. Patrick came to council and was like, if anyone else wants to be on the board, or I just put these names on, and no one was interested. And then those people came back and, you know, tried to create conspiracies just to create chaos. But, you know, I've never seen the books. That's why I requested that all the documents be offered. So now they're essentially public record. You know, we've never really operated as a board conspiring or whatever. But if you're fine dissolving it, I've got no objections.
Yeah, I think that would be
Never been
best.
involved with
The
it.
dissolving it will have to be an official vote of, or consensus
first board
of at
meeting?
least 3 members of the group. And the way it states in all 501c3s is if it gets dissolved, that the funds will have to go to either another 501c3 or there's a section on there where it goes to a municipality. And so I would recommend to the rest of the group who is on there that all the funds that are currently sitting in the account go to the town of Packlet, and they go into an events, a Packlet events account. And all the expenses for any event come out of there. Now, I've been asked, well, how will that change things? There is a possibility that we may not get as many sponsorships on there. The reason that the vendor fees were put in there as well is because it was one place that writes all the checks for all the costs on there, instead of having half of an invoice being paid for by one group and half of an invoice being paid by another on there. But I am no longer personally, as Patrick Kay, not your town administrator, interested in running this 501c3 anymore. And I'm no longer interested in going through all this extra work that I've done. It was for the benefit of this community, but not everybody sees it that way. So I'm a little bit, but I'm walking away from it. I'm recommending the council that y'all create an account, a Packlet events account, and everything gets put into that.
All right, you said to dissolve Packlet Threads. The members or the board of Packlet Threads will all have to agree to dissolve it. Okay.
Well, I just have to have a majority.
Or majority, okay. All right, you and Thomas and a few others are on that board. I make a motion as a Packlet Town Council member, District Number 2, that you, Patrick Kay, being the town administrator, reach out to the rest of the board members and request that this be dissolved and it become part of our Packlet budget that is audited by our local accounting people. So,
The main thing I'm looking for is that y'all just create the account, and then that's how all of the expenses are run, and that no additional dollars from hospitality account come to the thread.
once we get the approval to demolish Packlet Threads, then we will take a vote, or if we need to, we'll take a vote after this one to create an events account as part of our regular accounting that will be administered or oversaw by, is it Love out of Lawrence?
Love Bailey?
Love Bailey out of Lawrence, and he will audit that annually.
Just like any other account within the town of Packlet.
We don't have to do a motion vote. I mean, actually, the council has no authority to make the thread dissolve, but
No, I can't
obviously-
make it. I made the motion that Patrick reach out to Packlet Threads board to have them dissolve, because without the majority vote of them, they will not dissolve it.
to reach
Correct.
out to them.
Yeah, I mean, you're making a request, you're making a motion to make the request.
Right.
The council cannot demand that a 501c3 dissolve, but you're making a request that you do dissolve, and that once you do, that the town be considered for the collection of any residual funds that come from.
Right.
I think we could do, I make a motion that from now moving forward, no funds may be transferred from the town to Packlet Thread, but the Thread may go ahead and transfer the remaining funds to the town.
That motion could work.
And then it's just, there's no more
If that's
gray
better
area.
suited, I will withdraw my motion.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All in favor? So be it. Ms. Walker, you have any comments?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Thomas?
Just a reminder, we're 16 days away from dumpster day. Don't forget. April 18th. Sorry.
Mr. James?
Yes, Bulk Waste Day, April 18th, and also online, I saw there is a job fair at Ben Mays Center on April 14th from 10 till 1.
Mr. Brackens?
Yes, I'd like to look at what we can do to add the veterans thing that's going on at Benjamin E. Mays to our local page, website. so that we can help promote this. I think it's a good thing for our citizens. It's a good thing for our veterans, and there may even be some people that would like to volunteer their time and help. Also, we have a couple of special prayer requests tonight before we started our meeting. Y'all keep those folks in mind. Wait for God's healing touch on them. Thank you.
Ms. Lemons?
Happy Easter, y'all. Jesus rose again.
I just want to say one thing. I appreciate all of y'all, all the work y'all do for this town. You respect it. And we'll call this meeting
Make a
to...
motion that we adjourn.
Yeah. I'm about to say
I
that.
second that.
Do I have a second?
That's second.
We adjourn. All in favor?